Hey guys, I'm making for this recording for anyone who's having trouble making the under the bench um, station, basically for our trainers in the hydraulics lab. So let's start off. Now, when you start and you come open up Automation Studio after you get installed and everything, you're gonna find hydraulics, and if you want to control the different panels that are popping up here, you can click on this configuration box, and you could literally hide all of hydraulics, which isn't going to help us. But you can control which ones pop up, and I'm just going to hide pneumatics because we're not going to be using pneumatics in this course. So when I start off, we're going to be really tempted to start off using the hydrostatic reservoir because it's right there. However, it's a little bit different than the reality because a hydrostatic reservoir doesn't really have air inside of it. It's kind of like uh, a specific system. So what we want to do is we want to find inside. So there's the little arrow on the far left of the hydraulic name that brings up all of these different categories or subcategories for hydraulics. And we'll find one that says reservoirs. And if we click on that, we're actually going to find one called atmospheric reservoir. And we're going to drag one of those down. We'll get a little bit closer in a second. And we're going to need two of them. I just know we're going to need two connections to the same reservoir. And so I'm going to take out the second one already. But, you can figure it out one by one as you're going along. Now, we have that. And from the reservoir, we're going to want to have a filter before it hits the pump. So we're going to go into fluid conditioning, and we're going to find a regular filter, and we're going to rotate that to the right by right clicking, going to transform and rotate right. And this is really a large part of this is just aesthetics and making it look professional, but we're here to be professionals, right? And so that's great. And we're going to need an air filter as well, so I'm going to preemptively put that out while we're here. And we have a pressure gauge and a throttle valve in this bottom section here. So let's go and find those. So I think you can find the pressure gauge in the main hydraulic folder, although it's also probably under one of these. Let's see, if we go into flow valves, we are going to need one of these flow valves. So we'll bring that out now. Under pressure valves, no, we're going to need one of those there, but I'm not going to jump in there yet. It's definitely not under sensors. Fluid conditioning. No. Pumps and intensifiers, reservoirs, flow lines and connections, accumulators, actuators, orbitals, pressure valves, sensors. Maybe it is a sensor. That actually might make sense because we're trying to determine the pressure level. No, it's more of a gauge than a sensor. Measuring instruments, yeah, it's under measuring instruments. So you can go ahead and pull that out over here, and realistically, you're going to spend a lot of time finding all of these parts everywhere as you're working. And we'll see that same pressure gauge is also in this main folder right here. So it's the same one. Technically, there's a second one. I don't think we're definitely going to use a second one. So we'll have both of these out, and we need as well our variable throttle valve. We're going to rotate that as well. So now that we have a good chunk of the parts for the bottom end, and I just kind of put them in a way that look good to me, and you should be able to do that, So let's get that the way that makes us happy. Each person is their own type of professional who has their own standards, and I highly recommend make it look good to you, if that makes sense. And as long as things are legible and clear, you're going to look like one good type of professional. So what we've done so far is we have the the atmospheric reservoir connected to an oil filter That filter goes to a PSI gauge and a throttle valve, which is connected to the air filter, and then this is going with a valve. And you're going to notice on the actual trainer, this is the valve that has it's the bottom one that rotates 90 degrees with the yellow handle. So that's what that guy over here is. And so that's kind of like the first part. Now from here, the oil is going to go into the pump, and our pump has a shaft and is connected to a motor. So this is our in and our out, right? So that's our inlet and our outlet. We can space this out a little bit more evenly. And to connect this to the electric motor that we're using, we're going to have to go find it. This is the only part you're not actually going to find in hydraulics, and that's because it's not really a hydraulic element. So if we go into drive and transmission elements, we'll see engine and electric motor. It's an electric motor, and I think you could probably use a transmission shaft if you really want to. We don't have one, but you know, learning how to do things is always convenient. We don't need it. We're not going to use it for our purposes, though. All right, so now we're on the other side of the pump, and on the other side of the pump, we have that valve that we turn, which is a pressure relieving valve, which goes back to the tank, and we have our switch that changes between A and B, and on the other side there we also have another pressure gauge. So we have the pressure gauge already here. We'll connect that in, and then it's the other side that's going to be a little bit more on the complicated side. So let's go through that together. So the first important one is going to be the pressure relieving valve. So we're going to go into flow valves, if I'm not mistaken, and it's going to be, no, it's not this one, I don't think. No, we will need that, not yet. Reservoirs, flow lines, and connections. No, maybe it is on flow valves. Yeah, these look like they're right. So let's go into these a little bit more closely. Not looking for that. Not looking for that. Not looking for that. Are we? No, still not these. Flow dividers. No, non-return valves. We don't want those. We don't want those. Don't want those. Don't want those. Oh, sorry. It should be under pressure valves. Is pressure valves its own thing? Yeah. Yeah, pressure relief valves. That is the one that sounds like it makes sense. And then if we start looking through these, they start to look a little bit more like the one that you're looking for on your lab 1. And let's see. This is the right one because ours is adjustable. Cool. So we're going to put that over here. And we're going to mirror this one, so flip vertically, and we can connect this one in over here so that it goes both directions. And FYI, this is going to be where our output is connected to. Whatever we're connecting in our series, this is going to be going to our little divider that has our pressurized and our tank inlets. So we're going to put that in over there. And remember, this is the piece that you pull down and you rotate to adjust the amount of pressure, and we're turning this one to 500 psi before we start testing our system. And this goes back to our oil tank, so we'll connect these back to our atmospheric reservoir, and you'll notice there's this one and this one. It does both lead back to the same reservoir, just in case it gets confusing. And then we need our two-way valve. So let's go ahead and find a two-way valve, and it's lever operated because we're using the one that kind of switches between them. A and B, that's the ones that go A, B, and off. So let's take a look. We need, I think it's directional valves, yeah, and it's a 2-2. And the one that we're using, I believe, is normally flowing. So we're going to look for the one with the spring on the flowing side, and it's definitely operated by a solenoid. So this looks like the right one here, and we can rotate this into position. I think rotate right is probably like right, but I like it when everything aims in the same direction, / you need to make it aim in the same direction, and I want it that way, so I'm going to flip it this way. For now, I'm going to avoid putting on the labels, but you guys should be labeling everything like oil tank, oil filter, air filter, throttle valve, pressure gauge, pump, motor, you know, like pressure relieving valve, and two-way normally open valve. So all that stuff is what you should be doing. I'm just kind of showing you guys how to find everything, and I'll assume you know how to, you know, make a little text box and name something, right? So oil filter. I don't want to make this video too long, but I do want to make sure you guys are able to find everything and have a few skills in case you can't find it easily. Now, in terms of this part over here, there's another option instead of like if you can't find this for whatever reason, and the way you can do that is you can double click on these, and you're going to see variable assignment. And when you technical specifications, and when you click technical specifications, you could literally like double click on these and just change them out for literally anything. So if we wanted to make it like piloted by like external hydraulic pilot, so we have another line that pops in there, and when pressure is coming in from there, it's gonna push it closed. Now obviously we need to have like a way to open that too, so we'd have to have another one over here. If we were going to do something like that, and it just has a spring there, so if there's neither pressure on either side, it'll just pull to the flowing side. You could do that, and then when you come out of here, it'll update your part. But then, you know, we need pilot lines for these now. And honestly, this I don't think I've ever seen something like this. I just wanted to show you guys. And to delete it, you can just hit delete, click delete, and we actually did use solenoid for this one, so we're gonna leave that there. And you know, if you're wanting it to all align, you can line it up as you like. All right. So that is everything that goes underneath the bench. You guys should be able to figure that out now for sure. And if you have any questions, you know how to get a hold of me. All right.